mind, looking for a dime. James Locke in the house, gonna help you shine.
Welcome to the Poole Locke YouTube channel. Welcome back. I'm James Locke. Today we're going to answer some more Ask James questions of the day. First question today from Debbie. We've done a good job on saving and investing. I feel that we have a healthy amount saved for retirement, but my husband is not interested in spending any of it. It's almost like he wants to take it with him to the grave. How can I help change his mind? All right, well, just put a trailer hitch on the back of the hearse, right? We'll bring the money with you. No big deal. Well, you're right, Debbie. It doesn't work that way. Now, some people, have a major goal. Hey, my number one goal is to leave a giant legacy. All right, okay. If that's your number one goal, sure. But I don't know about him, but it sounds like that's not your goal. Well, I think what would best help your husband is to understand that he doesn't have to take it out of principle. See, what's probably fueling this, I would think, is that he's worked so hard to save money over the course of his life and be thrifty. That thriftiness gets into your blood. It's what you're used to, right? And after saving and being told by financial advisors, like my good friend Eric told me, years ago, hey, we're told by financial advisors, put it in, don't ever take it out, right? Well, now you get to retirement and that's ingrained in your inner being and you think it's irresponsible for me to withdraw money when I scrimped and saved to save it, right? Well, that's because I believe, Deb, that, that's the mindset. He's in that mindset of saying you have to be saving the money rather than withdrawing it. But you don't. See, if you have an income first, growth second approach, investing for interest and dividends, right? You're still going to get some growth, but interest and dividends first, and you're only spending the interest and dividends, and you're not taking a dime out of principal. Let's dive into that deeper, into this income first, growth second approach. This strategy focuses on creating a portfolio that generates a steady stream of income through dividends, interest payments, and other income-producing investments. Here's how it works. Dividend-paying stocks. Look for quality companies with a history of consistent and growing dividend payments. These can provide both income and potential for capital appreciation. Bonds. Consider a mix of government and corporate bonds to provide steady interest income. A bond ladder strategy can help manage interest rate risk. Real estate investment trusts, REITs, these can offer higher yields and provide diversification into real estate without directly owning property. Preferred stocks, these hybrid securities often offer higher yields than common stocks and bonds. Master limited partnerships, MLPs, these can provide higher yields, though they come with more complex tax implications, so be careful. The key is to create a diversified portfolio that generates enough income to meet your needs without having to sell off assets. This way, your principal can remain intact and potentially continue to grow. And I think if he knew that he weren't taking a dime out of principal, he's just living off of those interest and dividends, then he could take it with a clearer conscience because it's like a renewable resource, renewable energy. Next year, there'll be more interest in dividends. The year after that, there'll be even more. You can spend it all with a clear conscience, just like when he was working. He'd save what he had to pay himself first, like my friend Eric saved money, and then spend the rest with a clear conscience. Why? Because that paycheck was a renewable resource, right? The same is true if you invest with an income first, growth second approach. To help your husband visualize this, you might want to create a simple chart or spreadsheet showing your portfolio's income generation over time. This can demonstrate how the income from your investments can replace your working income, allowing you to maintain your lifestyle without touching the principal. It's also worth discussing the concept of safe withdrawal rates with your husband. While the traditional 4% rule is well known, an income-focused portfolio might allow for higher sustainable withdrawal rates, potentially even up to 5% or more, depending on your specific situation and market conditions. Another point to consider is the impact of inflation. By focusing solely on preserving principal, your husband might actually be putting your future purchasing power at risk. A well-designed income-focused portfolio should not only generate current income, but also have the potential for income growth over time to keep pace with inflation. Lastly, it might be helpful to frame this discussion in terms of your shared goals and values. What did you both work and save for all these years? Was it to just have a large bank balance? Or was it to enjoy a comfortable retirement, help your family, pursue interests you didn't have time for doing during your working years? Reminding him of these goals might help shift this perspective from pure preservation to purposeful use of your hard-earned savings. So Deb, hopefully this can help fix his mindset. Remember, the goal isn't just to accumulate wealth, but to use it wisely to enhance your lives and potentially leave a legacy. With a solid income-focused investment strategy, you can do both. Enjoy your retirement and still maintain or even grow your principal over time. Great question today. If you would like to send in your question, have me answer it, you can email it to poollocke@poollocke.com. Let's move on to our second question from Daniel. He asks, my wife really wants to have another home in a warmer climate as the winters are brutal up here in Vermont. So how do I know if I can really afford this? Okay, Daniel, so how can you tell if you can afford it? Well, let me break it down in two ways. Number one, if you have non-IRA money, we'll call it non-qualified money. We call that in the investment world. But what that means is non-IRA money, non-401k money, non-403b money. It's money you've already paid taxes on and then invested. If you have enough money to pay cash on that home, and by the way, Daniel, I'm assuming that you want to keep your house, right? I'm assuming that you're not selling one to buy another. That's easier, right? So if you have this non-IRA money, it's money that's already been taxed, then you can, if you could take some of that money, you have enough to pay cash, then the math is simple. You say, okay, let me take the rest of my assets and let me figure out if I can get a 4 or 5% income stream. Can I now live and support two homes off that 4 or 5% income stream, that interest or dividend? When I add it to my Social Security and my pensions, I might have, if you're fortunate enough to have one of those old-fashioned pensions, great. Now let's dive a bit deeper, though, into this income-focused investment strategy. We talk about this 4 to 5 income stream. We're looking at a portfolio designed to generate consistent cash flow. What does that include? Dividend-paying stocks. Look for companies with a history of stable and growing dividends. These can provide both income and potential capital appreciation. Bonds, government bonds, corporate bonds. They can provide steady interest income. You want to ladder these bonds, make a bond laddering strategy to manage interest rate risk. REITs, real estate investment trusts, they can offer higher yields and exposure to the real estate market without directly owning the property. Preferred stocks, hybrid securities, offer higher yields than common stocks or bonds. MLPs, master limited partnerships, they can provide higher yields, though they come with more complex tax implications, so be careful there. The key is to create a diversified portfolio that generates enough income to meet your needs without having to sell off assets. This way, your principal can remain intact and potentially continue to grow. So again, take it out of the already taxed money, and then with the rest, can I earn enough in interest and dividends after fees to support both homes and live the lifestyle I want when you factor in other benefits like Social Security? If the answer is yes, you're good to go. But what if you say no? I'm all lopsided towards IRAs and 401ks. I don't have a lot of after-tax money. Now it's different math. Now you have to figure out how much income you can generate from those investments add your Social Security and pensions. And so it's the same, but now you've got to say, all right, can I live the lifestyle I want to live and pay a mortgage on this second property, in the warmer climate? And if the answer is yes, I can support that mortgage on the property as well as the other lifestyle goals, then you're good to go. When considering a mortgage for your second home, it's important to factor in not just the monthly payments, but the other costs associated with owning a second property. What does that look like? Property taxes, insurance on the home, maintenance and repairs on the home, utilities at that home, potential property management fees, right? If you're not there year round, let's say, right? These costs should all be kind of factored into your income calculation to ensure you can truly afford the second home without compromising your overall financial health. And why is that such a big deal? Because, you don't want to pay, if you want to buy a house for $300,000, last thing you want to do is take $300,000 out of an IRA and pay tax on it. Heck, you'll only have about $180,000 left, right, after taxes. So if that's the case, then are you earning enough interest or dividends to live the lifestyle you want and pay the mortgage on that second problem? It's also worth considering the potential income that the second home could generate. If you're planning to use it only part of the year, you might be able to rent it out when you're not using it. So this additional income could help offset some of the costs associated with owning the property. However, be sure to factor in the costs and responsibilities of being a landlord when you do that, including potential property management fees if you don't want to handle rentals yourself. Another point to consider is the long-term impact on your overall financial plan. Now, while a second home can be a wonderful lifestyle, asset, it's important to ensure that investing in one doesn't compromise other financial goals, such as leaving an inheritance or having a cushion for potential health care costs later in life. Lastly, don't forget about the potential tax implications if you do end up selling your primary residence to fund the purchase of a second home. Be aware of the capital gains exclusion rules. Currently, you can exclude up to $250,000 of capital gains, $500,000 for a married couple, on the sale of a primary residence, provided you've lived in it for at least 2 of the last 5 years. So Daniel, I hope that helps answer your question. Remember, the key is to ensure that your income-generating investments can support your lifestyle goals, including a second home, without putting undue stress on your overall financial picture. So it might be worth sitting down with a financial advisor who specializes in retirement income planning to run through detailed scenarios and ensure you're making the best decision for your long-term financial health. Great questions today. Thank you so much for your two questions today. If you would like to send in your question, you can do so by emailing them to poolelock@poolelock.com. And if you like what you heard, go ahead, like and subscribe to our channel. I'm James Locke, your retirement income source. I'll see you next time.
Money on my mind, looking for a dime. James Locke in the house, gonna help you shine. Retirement is near, don't you live in fear. Listen up, my friend, let me make it clear. Say